And we are back, Stiles and Watkins, joined by the one, the only Michelle Beadle, and we are joined thanks to Jiffy Lube. Sactown Sports Road Trip to Radio Row in Las Vegas is brought to you by our friends at Jiffy Lube. When it's time for a road trip, visit Jiffy Lube for all your automotive maintenance needs. Jiffy Lube is your road trip headquarters. And as we are joined by Michelle Beadle from Beadle and Decker, weekdays from 9 a.m. to noon Pacific on Sirius XM's Mad Dog Sports Radio channel. This is not your first time in Vegas.
In Vegas? God, no.
I was kidding.
No.
Some people, it's their first time. They need a reason. Yeah.
No, I do like to gamble a little bit. So to me, it's like a fun place. But being here for this feels like a completely different place.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't feel like maybe because we're actually being responsible and working, and it's only halfway through the week. So I feel like you can't go hard.
Yeah. Earlier on, Chris said, we've been here all week and we got in last night.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
Yeah.
I got in Sunday. I drove in from LA, got in Sunday afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah, because the rain was coming. I was like, let me just get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Lost a bunch of money in like 45 minutes, and then went to my room. I was like, I haven't even started yet.
Well, what's your game?
Setting the tone.
So I'm like a nerd. I like blackjack, but I also like the higher limit slots.
Okay.
And that's where all my money's went.
Wow. Wow. Hey, you enjoyed it. You enjoyed it.
For a minute, because you're like, I'm up, and it's gone. That's it.
Yeah, that's definitely a pretty big problem that I'm having. It feels great when you're up, but once it goes down, it just feels like it just starts tumbling incredibly quickly.
And then you're chasing it. Now we're in trouble.
And that's exactly what happens every single time. Michelle, I'm curious. I know we're at Super Bowl and this is all about football, but I am a huge basketball fan. I love basketball. You have the pleasure of working on a show that involves Shams Charania,
the best,
who is one of the newsbreakers in basketball. And, we're here in Sacramento. We hear things locally, like little whispers that just never reach public consumption. I'm just curious, what kind of things does Shams tell you that just never reach the light of day? And you're just like,
it's crazy.
What?
Well, first of all, he has one phone because people are always like, how many phones? Just the one. And he'll sometimes, because I'm fascinated with how he gets some of the information.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the conversations that happen that don't come to fruition. Like, they were going to trade for... And then it doesn't work. So sometimes he'll share some of those types of stories. He's in trade deadline mode right now.
He's in a hole. I'm assuming.
Home. He's at home.
Yeah.
He won't fly during trade deadline week because the Wi-Fi. He's worried on the plane he might not have good Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So he's literally flying here like Thursday night after the deadline passes. I've never met a younger old man in my entire life.
How old is he? Because
he's like 20-something. He's a child. Literally could be his mom, and yet. You wouldn't know because he's so wise and mature. And then I work with Chandler Parsons and Lou Will, who've been drunk since they got here. So I'm just sitting there going, this is a weird juxtaposition of humans.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes the show great. And while we're on basketball, before we got plenty of time to talk football, how do you view the Sacramento Kings right now, stuck in that fifth seed? We call it the second tier of the Western Conference. I've been on record saying they weren't going to make a move. This about
still
a month ago.
24 hours, man. There's still
they were never
time,
going to. I've been saying this for a month, right? And now with the trade deadline, it's upon us. What do you think about the Kings? Let's just assume at this point, they don't make a move.
Yeah.
Would it be a mistake? What's their ceiling as presently constructed?
That's the thing is I was at the game when they played the Warriors when Draymond came back from that suspension, which was weird because it was in San Francisco and he got a standing ovation. I was like, this is not a good message.
Yeah.
But okay. And so, and then De'Aaron Fox got hurt. So it was just like, this is a fun up and coming team. My question though is if they did make a move, what would you want to move for? Because who do you get rid of? I don't really know that I want to move anybody off the team. The West is an interesting place right now because it looks like, knock on wood for them, but the Clippers seem to have figured something out.
Yes.
And, as a Laker hater, I'm all for that, obviously. But it's and the Warriors are not going to be an issue. So it's just kind of a weird time for the Kings because it's kind of open. I mean, I know you got the Nuggets, obviously.
Right.
And I think the Clippers are going to be there as well. But I don't know that you want to make a big move. And I don't know there's anybody out there that I'm willing to give someone up to bring in. That's the bigger issue, I think.
And the big question, too, is just, is there truly a window of opportunity here? And if you look, there's been some parity in the NBA, unlike that's been in the past. the NBA is kind of a league of dynasties in a way, where it's the Bulls win 6 and the Spurs and then the Warriors, and now you have teams. It seems like every single year we're getting different matchups. Do you feel like now would be the time to strike, or should the Kings be a little bit more reserved and maybe wait out their timeline?
I mean, I would wait it out in the sense that I don't see anybody who's on this, so-called list of people that may not get traded in the next 24 hours. I don't know that I'm adding any of them to this Kings team. I wouldn't mess it. There are a few teams like that. I mean, like Oklahoma City. I'm not buying that they're going to be in the conference finals at the end, but they're certainly fun to watch right now. I wouldn't mess that up either. Like I'm not adding to that. I think the Knicks are an interesting position right now because they are so much fun to watch. The East for me is open. Like I buy none of the teams in the East at this point. I mean, the Bucks, I don't know what they're doing. And that's poor Doc. I'm like, that's a whole nother situation.
Poor Doc,
dude. That man has a horseshoe up his bum. That's the luckiest man in the world.
You could bring him to Vegas.
Good God, I'm just like, it's crazy to me. And I like the guy. He used to be our color analyst with the Spurs back when I was like a kid. So it was awesome. But yeah, I wouldn't do anything crazy. I think the Lakers will probably make a move because that's what they do. And we got the LeBron cryptic emoji tweets and something has to happen.
Hourglass.
By the way,
what does that mean?
By the way,
I love it.
What are you
I love
doing?
it. I'm a conspiracy theory guy. I love it all. Give me the tinfoil hats.
He's 40. What are we doing?
Come on.
He's 30. Is he still 39?
You round up at this point.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Sometimes I look at it and I'm like, this is like what a 19-year-old girl does when her boyfriend just broke up with her and she puts like a cryptic tweet out there. And you're like, what does it mean? Come on.
Talking to Michelle Beadle, host of Beadle and Decker weekdays from 9 a.m. to noon on Sirius XM's Mad Dog Sports Radio channel. Let's get into some football now.
All right, let's talk about it.
All right, and maybe I've been asking so many people this, and I'm waiting for somebody to be on the same side as me. And Michelle, I think you are that person. Okay. No. You have to be this person. All right. Can we say that the whole Brock Purdy game manager thing, can we say it's done?
Yes.
If everybody is saying, put some respect on his name, isn't he now respected?
I don't get it, because if you took a person who's never watched a football game in your life and you explained these are all the teams, at the end 2 will be left standing because they were the best and then they play for the big dog.
Right.
Then they would be like, okay, cool. So these are the 2 quarterbacks for those teams. You wouldn't have to sit there and then explain all these asterisks about how, well, this one's just a game manager and a system player. He's here. His numbers are great across the board. I don't know where the origin of sort of the doubt comes from. I don't know if it's because he looks like a nerd that never changes his facial expression.
We call him a tech bro.
By the way, it's gotten so bad, guys, that today, every time I look up, there'd be like a nondescript white dude walking around. I was like, is that Brock?
Is that Brock?
I think that's Brock Purdy.
People are calling it draftism. Okay, being the last pick in the draft.
But isn't that cool? This is why we have movies for stories like this.
It's cool, but that's why people are saying it can't be him.
But Tom Brady was 6th round. Like, what are we doing?
You're not wrong.
It's not like he was drafted in the 1st round. We have undrafted dudes that go on to be superstars.
Yeah.
There's something about this kid who's, again, doesn't change his facial expression, which does start to scare me after a while. It's very sociopathic at some point, right? Like, are we being honest right now?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see if he wins and we get to see a change. That might be worth it for all of this in the end. And then I wonder what the haters will say if that happens. Like, how do we excuse that?
That's what I was going to ask you is do you think it stops? If Brock wins the Super Bowl, does the hate stop, or is it just on to something else that you can critique?
It's going to be on something else. It'll be like, oh, he had like threw for 3 touchdowns and an interception. See? The interception. I'm like, wait, hold up. Like, what are we talking about right now? So there's a part of me that I don't have a horse in the race at all. I don't necessarily care who wins. I like the stories. I'm kind of pulling for it just because I want to see how the loud people, as I call them, deal with it, because it's going to give them headaches. They're going to have to come up with something.
So before we get you out of here, a couple more. We might have a bonus question for you. Ooh. This is not the bonus, but just to ask the initial question, who do you have, Niners or Chiefs?
God, I feel like Chiefs are going to win, but I would like the Niners to win. I'm a dynasty hater. If it's not the Spurs, I don't want it.
Yeah, I was going to say, hold on now. The math ain't math.
I know. It's like, I'm a very selfish, self-centered person. So if it's not mine, don't want it.
There you go. All right.
Admit it.
The bonus question is, and this is the first time we've done this. The first time we've done this, you can choose between the two. You have been around for so long, and we've all watched you kind of just grow, and you're doing your thing. So the two questions you can choose between, you can either let us know or perform a hidden talent, or
you're dropping this now,
or tell us something that even the biggest Michelle Beadle fan may not know about you.
Okay. So when I was like in the first grade, that's where we're going, I had a very angelic face.
Okay.
I mean, you would not know, very innocent looking little girl. You'd have your crayon boxes. Everybody have their little box. And I would go around asking to borrow a crayon. And when I did that, I would steal the 2 dimes that they had for milk in the box. By the way, that's how old I am. Milk was 20 cents. And then one day my mom found like a Ziploc bag just full of dimes and was like, "What is this?" I'm like, And I had to apologize in front of the entire class.
Wow.
Yeah, criminal mastermind could have been my future, but I went for this path.
That just sounds like a business.
Thank you.
That's just good.
It's not my fault
business.
They didn't hide their dimes.
Right.
You're stupid.
Right.
Wow. This has been outstanding.
Incredible.
Michelle Beadle, host of Beadle and Decker weekdays from 9 a.m. to noon Pacific time on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio channel. Michelle, it has been a pleasure.
This is awesome.
Enjoy the rest of your time. I'll give
By
you
the way, y'all are in it. Like you can just watch
we're
everything.
in it.
We're
see
trying
Baker
to pay
Mayfield
attention.
walk by. We got Cam over
They
here.
were doing the haka earlier.
We saw
doing a different
Danny
interview
DeVito's
that we had.
agent walked by.
Yeah, he
Don't.
talked to me like he knew me too.
Don't, I can't.
He talked to me
I
like he knew me
can't.
too.
It's a whole
I'll
thing.
give you a hint. I know you got your games. Look, a little bit of roulette. Maybe switch it up a little bit.
No, I have to.
You
If
might
I go
have
down
to.
right away, I'm switching it up.
There you go.
I hate myself.
There you go. Michelle, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your time in
Thanks, guys.
Vegas. Got to get to a break. When we get back, more Stiles and Watkins.